Hi, Jeff Adordo from Earthwalker. I've got some fun projects for you to check out today. Both are hunting tools. One is a rabbit stick, ancient blunt force trauma, one of the oldest hunting tools archaeologically for indigenous people. I also want to make an atlatl, which is also very, very ancient as well. Basically a spear thrower. So we'll get into it. So these are the tools I'm working with. It's a medium small size machete, and I always wear leather gloves when I'm getting into this heavy work. I love protecting my hands. I'm a musician. I like all my fingers. It's just what I do. I recommend it. So I believe I've got 2-in-1 the way I've harvested this and been mindful about how I've harvested this. Here, about right here, is a throwing stick, rabbit stick. From here on to the end, I've got an atlatl. Quality of wood is nice and dense, which is ideal for both an atlatl and a rabbit stick. So I'm going to keep chopping away here. So this is the end of the atlatl where the dart is going to go. The length of the atlatl should be roughly just under the length of my arm. So this should be about a few inches lower than my shoulder when I grasp the handle down here. The rabbit stick, roughly the same length is what I'm going with. This works out well because it's 2-in-1. Okay, I'm done with the big chopping now, so I think I'm going to break this in two. Some of the details here, I've got a flat end on this side of it because that is the rabbit stick, and this is tapered at the top there because that's where the dart is going to go, right on top. Well, after about an hour or so of carving, I've finished the rabbit stick. It's planed out in the bottom fairly well. We'll round it on the top, hold it like so. Just blunt force trauma. Ancient harvesting tool. This is the complete rabbit stick. It's planed off, flat at the bottom, more like an airplane rounded on the top, and just a primitive boomerang, really. It's aimed at rabbit or small game like bird, that kind of thing. Got a small target over here, like a quail, something like that. You'd have to stock up on it. Whole other skill set. But that would do the trip. So now this is the roughed form of the atlatl. I'm going to continue to whittle this down so it doesn't feel like such a brick, but it still feels strong. So on this end, that's going to be where the dart meets the atlatl. And there's the handle. So I want to show you a technique now that I'm on the final details of this thing. Running the back of your knife condenses the fibers of the wood while also making sure you don't gouge out too much. This is the same process in bow making, using the back of your knife to shave off slowly. Alright, so I've got this all prepped down to the last and final piece. This is going to be the tricky piece here. This is where you put the dart end. Basically what I'm going to do is take my knife and cut an X and slowly reduce the wood out so that there's a little projection that will hold on to the back of the dart. Alright, this is the finished product of the atlatl. That fine detail at the end definitely requires patience. That's where the knock of the dart fits into the groove and you get that leverage, that added mechanical advantage. So I should also mention about the tip on this atlatl. The best way to keep the integrity is to put this over the fire and harden it using the heat, which condenses all the microfibers in there, and that fine angle will hold. Some models had a bone or a piece of antler at the end. That's just a different variety. So for the Atlatl darts, you can use a variety of materials. I'm just going to use what's prevalent around here and use some willow. Okay, for the Atlatl dart, I've basically just shaved down a piece of willow. I'm not done yet, but I thought for the fletching, since I don't have any feathers out here in the field with me, I could improvise using some modern wonderful stuff called duct tape. And here for this point, I thought maybe I could use the end of my tin can lid that I folded into an arrow point and use the 550 inner cord as a lashing device. So let's see how that works. So again, I use the back of my knife to do the fine work and shave this down, make it nice and smooth. The tip could be fire hardened. I don't need a point, but since I have one, I thought maybe I'd experiment and see what I could do. Okay, so I've smoothed down all the knots. It's relatively straight. I've been stretching it and bending it. Now this final piece, well, not final, but it's a crucial piece right at the top. I'm going to take my knife and spin a little hole right on the top of that. All right. So the idea is these two match up pretty well. Bonk, right like that. So that's the mechanical advantage, to throw the projectile farther. Just using a rock and this tin can lid, I was able to fold multiple times, folding in this tin can into an arrow point. I could lash in to the end of my dart. I'm just tearing off pieces of duct tape to use as the fletching on the end of the arrow. I suppose I could use pine boughs or any other kind of wispy type substance that could keep the dart going straight, but I'm going to use duct tape. So I put two pieces of duct tape together and then I'm going to lash it on there. See, I folded them together. One down. I think I'm going to go 3 more. Okay, last one. I just need to cut them to match the rest of them. Okay, fletching's done. Pretty basic. If you got duct tape in the field, so as far as the tip goes, I'm just going to split the end. Okay, point's done. Now I just have to work on my aim and see how it flies. Alright, so these guys match up really nicely, like so. First flight.